Why, what big welcome back to the channel. Well, it is a gorgeous day in southeastern Spain. We're actually on our way to Morocco, but first we've got a little pit stop at the Gorafe Desert. Well, we've had the most gorgeous drive down today. The weather's just been flawless. There's not a cloud in the sky. And the almond blossoms out as well. It's a real spectacle. There's lots of snow on the bigger mountains. And I'm looking forward. We're only about 10 minutes actually from the edge of the Gorafe. So, I'm looking forward to it. So we just stopped for a little bite of lunch actually in Gorafe itself, and it is absolutely beautiful. It helps that we've got this perfect blue sky today, the sun is shining, but have a look at this spot. It's really, really gorgeous. And there's a couple of campers here. It's a dedicated parking place for campers, and it doesn't really get much better than that. And just to the right here, you've got a load of cave houses up on the hill. But right now we're getting locked up and we're just about to go for a little drive. Okay, so this is the start of the route, and it's really civilized actually. The track, as you can see, you come down here in anything. And then it does get a little bit more gnarly the deeper you get into the park. It's quite a big area and it's pretty slow going actually. This is obviously fine, but we've got about sort of 40 minutes of this to hopefully our overnight stop. We'll see. We've got options. Well, it's probably a really good place actually to try and understand the scale of this, because obviously once we sort of get in and dip down into the valleys really, you'll be able to sort of see that scale. And most of it's farmed, the land here actually, in fairness, but it is just stunning.
We're really close to the edge, Phil.
We're all right. Well, what a place. I absolutely love it here. It is pretty breathtaking. And we've just parked up. This is going to be our overnight stop tonight. We've just pulled in off this track. And there's only a couple of tracks actually that goes through the whole area. And pretty much all the sort of parking places are like this. You're literally just sort of coming off the track thereabouts. And we've gone past, there's not that many, but we've gone past about 3 or 4 potential places. They weren't brilliant. So we've got level here as well, which is good. And just across there is west, and we've tried to keep the high ground rather than sort of dip right into the valley. We wanted to keep a bit of high ground so we can get the most incredible sunsets, because they're meant to be pretty staggering here. The track is fine, absolutely fine. I mean, this is a gravel track. People do say don't come in here when it's wet, and you can see why, because you can see all the weather and water erosion on the sort of the hills and the mountains. And this is a gravel track, but at the minute you come off this, then when it's wet It's clay-like, it's like pottery clay, and doesn't matter what vehicle you're in, you're probably going to get stuck. And it's not the place to get yourself into trouble, that's for sure. But this is just something else here. I'm not sure Izzy totally appreciated the track, but I'm really hoping to get the bike off over the next day or two and go for a real explore. And it's obviously a bit easier, a lot easier on the bike. You can get a lot more places, and it's quite a big area actually, so I'm looking forward to that. Well, I was so pleased to get some drone footage from our Dutch friend Arnold. When we were parked up in the village having lunch, he was parked beside us and we got chatting, then he disappeared off on his bicycle out for a ride. We didn't realise that he had a drone. We weren't expecting to see him again, he wasn't expecting to see us, and he actually captured that drone footage by complete coincidence. He just, the drone was flying, we drove up, and then he captured it, and he's just stopped and shared the file with us. So Arnold, thank you. I was so pleased with it. It's just nice to have something, because I haven't got my drone with me because I've had to leave it behind because we're going to Morocco. You can't take drones into Morocco, and you know, this place just lends itself so well to drone footage, so it's nice to have something. So cheers, Arnold. Well, it is indeed a gorgeous evening here. In fact, the sun isn't that far from going down, and it's just casting the most incredible shadows. What you don't realise when you come here, you're actually at 1,000 meters, and what's really bizarre is, despite this incredibly sort of undulating landscape and all the water damage, right on top of this hill, and the hill behind that, and the hill behind that, it's as if someone's taken a knife and just sliced off the top of the hill. And there's actually a house just behind me. You can just about see the roof there. And apparently you can rent that property. And it is perfectly flat. And you don't really see it until you see the drone footage. And it's quite impressive actually. But I think for now, I think we're in for a chilly night. So I'm going to go pour a glass of wine and have a little chill. Okay, so tonight I'm on dinner duty, so we've got some chorizo, some cod, some potatoes, some green beans.
Phil's just trying to prove that he can do more than assemble.
I'm a top cook. We've got a glass of wine on the go. Izzy's doing a little bit of work, and we have indeed.
Look at the view.
There's no clouds tonight, which is lovely, but I'm sure when there's cloud here, it's quite dramatic. Right, there is tonight's offering. Izzy, what do you think?
I think it looks lovely.
It's time to move on in the morning. I think we're going to go for a little drive further in. I am going to get the bike off, and I am going to have, you know, a full sort of day or two exploring by bike. I'm really looking forward to that. It's right up my street. But yeah, I just had a little bit of work to catch up on today, unfortunately, and it's all go tomorrow. Well, it's been a fabulous couple of days here. We've really enjoyed it. Just incredible views and sunsets, but time to drive further into the national park and see what else is in there. We're okay. it's time. I offload the bike, leave Izzy to hold the fort and go exploring. Well, I've only been out for about an hour's playing, but honestly, smiles all day long. If you're into adventure riding, this place is phenomenal. It really is. I mean, the scenery alone is breathtaking. I mean, whenever you're thrashing on the tracks, you just have to focus on the track because there's lots of big ruts, lots of water damage, and you can get caught out really, really easily. So I'm not going crazy. I want to be able to drive out of here, but I mean, the weather's up. The wind's actually got up as well. We're in for a little bit of rain tonight, and people say don't be here whenever it's when it's wet, because it turns to that sort of pottery clay. And where we're parked, actually, our new spot, it's not ideal. You can see that the ground's shiny. It's going to get really tacky, but I'm not bothered. Where there's no issue. If if it's really wet and we've got to set it out for a day or two, then so be it. We've got lots of food, lots of water, there's no issue, but yeah, it'll be fine. But right now I'm just enjoying the bike, the scenery, and just drinking in those views. Well, I was having way too much fun there. I could feel the handling wasn't quite right, so I stopped, and I've got a very soft front tire. It isn't completely down, but it is incredibly soft. I mean, I doubt if there's even 10 psi in there. So I've just had a quick check on the phone. I'm about a K away from the truck, so I'm going to limp back the truck very slowly. I've got an airline back there, put some air in it, and go from there. And yeah, see how we get on. But yeah, just lots of fun to be had yet. Right, see what pressure we've got in here. So I don't know if you could see that, but it wasn't actually reading, it was showing us flat by the time we got back here. And I put 38 psi in there at the moment. You can see the tire visibly sort of inflating as I put it in. I mean, the tire inflation system on the truck is quick. So I think what I'll do is have a cup of tea, leave it for about 10 or 15 minutes, test it again, and then hopefully get back out there. Okay, it's been about 15 minutes now. I've just tested it again and it appears to be fine. So I don't think it's a valve, could be a slow puncture. We'll see. So it's still sitting at 38 psi. And I think what I'm going to do is go out for another play, come back, test the pressure again, and then go from there. Well, I've just stopped at this viewpoint and realised, I actually thought for a moment I'd lost my camera. And that's a new camera, so losing this would have been quite painful. But actually what's happened is the stick, the selfie stick, is bent in two. And to get it out, I've just had to break it off. So that is dead in the water. Front wheel seems to be okay. I'll get back, test the pressure again, but honestly, there's nobody here. It's, I should slow down, but I'm just having so much fun. This place is phenomenal. I mean, just look at that. Okay, I've had a great little play today, but it's time to go home before I hurt myself for gin and tonic. Izzy's.
Hello, how was that?
Oh my god, that was incredible. That is the best day's riding I've had in a long time.
Where have you been?
I've been everywhere. I've been the far end.
Yeah.
I've been down. I haven't been down every track because
There must be hundreds of them.
there is. It is incredible. Come out the far end, into a little town. Lost my phone's out of power, camera's out of power, everything's out of power. So just made my way back, but just absolutely buzzing. What just an epic ride, really. Today.
Oh, brilliant.
There
Okay.
you go. There's your answer.
Glad you enjoyed it. Just make you a cup of tea.
Yeah. Well, morning guys. Well, we're just sat here this morning on the laptop, getting a few bits and pieces through Amazon, of course.
Can't leave our Amazon habit back in the UK.
No, and one of the brilliant things actually about Amazon is the Amazon lockers, and we've used them extensively, and we're just getting a few bits and pieces ordered before we actually go to Morocco. And it's a real sort of godsend, to be honest with you, and especially being in a big truck, you know, sometimes, you know, I want to go to a motorcycle shop, but actually, you know, the shop that I need to go to is in the middle of Malaga, and it's not practical in the truck really. So
this is easy. We can just identify a locker a couple of days down the road, and actually there's one quite close to Carlos where we'll get our tickets, and they'll be there waiting for us.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a really good system.
We can stop and pick it up once we go and get our Burger King.
Yeah, Amazon do make it easy for you to give them your money, don't they?
Yeah. Well, this is our 4th day in the Gorafe, and I'm just loving it. I don't want to leave actually. I was in such a rush to get to Morocco, and then I come here and thought, yeah, this is just great. But one of the things about sort of wild camping is, of course, you still generate rubbish and so on. So I've got a couple of bags of rubbish which I'm actually going to put in the boot, and then I'm going to give you a little look at our spot, because I don't think I showed you yesterday when we got here our park up and the surrounding area. So let me do this. I'll go for a little wander. But this, I'll spin the camera around, you can see. And this is our spot. I've got fantastic views across here. There's a little bit of cloud about this morning. And just in the distance, I don't know if you can see it on camera, you can see all those snow-capped mountains. I mean, that's just fabulous. Right, well, the kettle is on. And if you wonder what we do all day, apart from drink tea, the occasional glass of wine, and drink in some incredible views, we actually do a bit of work on the road. So we have a website, the Gapticators, and if you're into motorhomes, road trips, life on the road, then give us a check out. I also do a bit of YouTubing as well, so the video editing side of things takes a huge amount of time. In between that, we obviously get out and about, travel, do a bit of hiking, and just enjoy life really. So that is it. So there is Izzy, hard at work. It's almost lunchtime. The cloud is clearing. But right now, time for a cup of tea. Okay, even though we've taken 3,000 tea bags away with this, we've actually rationed the tea bags. We like PG tips, they're pretty strong, so we're down to 1 tea bag between 2 cups. Times are hard. Well, we're out for a little bimble today, and we're just surrounded by hills and mountains, and it really is like a lunar landscape. We met a local guy actually. He stopped in a 4x4, and that's what he said. You couldn't speak much English, but he was very friendly, I have to say. You know, I won't pan the camera into the sun, but you can really get a feel for what it's like here.
But it's actually a desert.
It is a desert.
A designated desert.
Yeah.
It doesn't look much like a desert, but...
And today, I must say, it's pretty fresh, actually.
Mm.
Where's the mountains?
Well,
in terms of the snow, yeah, you can see it. I don't know if you
there.
can see it, but there's lots of snow in the mountains over there. But it's glorious. There's lots of grasses, lots of herbs.
Yeah, it smells. When you walk and you crush things under your feet, it smells amazing.
Yeah. Right, come on.
Okay.
Onwards. Now realise one of the things I haven't talked about is the bike. Now I've had the bike for about 10 months. We bought it last year back in the UK. It's a 2023 model. It's a KTM 890 Adventure. This really is to replace our old Honda PCX 125. It was fantastic. We bought it new. We had it for 6 years. We carried it in our motorhomes and our truck, and it really was a faultless bit of kit that never let us down. But we wanted to go a bit further, and obviously we were restricted with the scooter. And so part of the thinking really, and one of the reasons why we embarked upon this truck build, believe it or not, was so that we could carry a bigger motorcycle. Now our background in motorcycles, and my background certainly goes back to my childhood. My earliest memories is riding bikes, dirt bikes, enduro bikes. That carried on into the army. I've raced and done lots of enduro events in many different countries, and it's something I'm really passionate about. And we've done lots of touring around Europe, Izzy and I, by motorcycle, various motorcycles, lots of big adventure bikes. In fact, I've had everything from, you know, 2-strokes all the way through the edges, through the big adventure bikes, sports bikes, touring bikes, and we've arrived at this. And I wanted something like this, something that was, you know, there isn't one bike that's going to tick every box, but this is as close really as I could get to it. Now I'm 5'9", so I'm not particularly tall, and some of the big adventure bikes, I've had all the GS1200s, the Adventures, all of that, they're just too big and heavy, and that is the reality of it. They're a great bit of kit, and so anybody watching this that has one, I'm not slating them because I had 3 of them, and they're great. But when you get the boxes on and you're 2 up and you're fully loaded, they're a real handful. You really can't sort of go too far with them. You can do lots of miles on them, but from an off-road point of view, you know, they're just too big and bulky, and actually quite tall. And so I wanted something that I could enjoy myself on a solo ride or a solo adventure, something that we could both go off for, you know, a month around Europe and actually enjoy the bike, you know, fully loaded, camp, you know, carry all our gear, and, you know, not be sort of struggling. So it's a sort of a, you know, it is an 890, so there's a bit of grunt. There's 105 brake horsepower, so there's enough. There's certainly enough, more than enough for off-road riding, and it's light enough to fit on the back of the truck. Now it's still a bit of a lump, don't get me wrong, but you know, we've got an 18-ton truck, and in terms of axle weights, there is more than enough capacity to carry this bike comfortably. And you know, here we are in the Gorafe Desert. It is, you know, this is, you know, it's just been a pleasure actually riding this thing, and I intend to spend a lot more time on solo trips, and actually Izzy and I plan to travel slightly differently, so not always by truck, and that might mean that we sort of set off on a trip specifically on the bike. It might mean that we drive somewhere in the truck and then, you know, leave the truck in storage for a month or 2 months, and then take the bike, get packed up, and then, you know, go off on a bit of an adventure. And that's the sort of thinking behind it. So there are lots of bikes out there. I actually set off to buy a Yamaha Tenere 700. The T7, fantastic bike. I like it a lot. I rate it highly, but actually it's a little bit tall, and I've sat in, you know, all the models, even with the linkage and the you know, seat height reduction. It just didn't feel right. It didn't feel as right as this. Hence the reason I bought this. I didn't like the old model. I like this, the slightly newer model, and I'm just so impressed with it. You know, there's loads and loads of gadgetry on it. That's the only thing I'd change, to be honest with you. There's too many gadgets and gizmos, and there's lots of different modes, which is great for a lot of people. You know, I'm quite a purist. I quite like just the riding experience. I don't feel the need. I really just put it on sort of rally mode. That turns off all the ABS and, you know, everything else, and I just sort of like to be able to sort of control the bike as opposed to gadgetry controlling the bike. So that is pretty much it. We've got a load of gear with it. So we've got some racks on here for soft luggage. I've actually bought a hard top box, which I'll only use whenever we go off touring, because it's a big top box. We obviously need the space. We've got lots of gear, you know, because we work on the road as well, so we're going to have to carry laptops, and I wanted security in terms of, you know, something hard, if you like, to be able to lock affixed to the bike, as opposed to soft luggage where there's more of a chance of it being stolen. So that is it. That is the bike. If you've sort of wondered what it's about, and I'm actually planning a sort of 2-week trip in Morocco, so watch this space, because I am going to be in those high Atlas mountains. We've been there before many times. I've seen the guys on bikes, and I've always thought, oh, I want to do that. That's right up my street. So yeah, watch this space. Okay, Gorafe, you've been amazing. Yep. But it's time to say farewell.